1 year ago, Russia's opposition leader Alexei Navalny died in Russian prison. I believe that he was killed in prison, poisoned. There's no proof of that, but this is something I believe in. Alexei Navalny was the best what Russia had to offer. He was light and hope for many of us. Yet when he was alive, Alexei Navalny was hated by many Russians, and he's still hated by quite a few. Don't get me wrong, please. The guy was nearly a saint, but he was still hated. I want to talk of this phenomenon because it is important to understand this phenomena that that explains us what the future of Russia holds for all of us. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia. We're living in today's Russia Explained. The usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not hear any BS, propaganda, or lies here. You will hear only truth, common sense, and logic, and some emotions too, because I am a human being after all, and this is a very emotional subject. First, let me remind you of who Alexei Navalny was. He was a Russian opposition politician and a leader, an attorney, an anti-corruption activist, and the founder of the Foundation for Fighting Corruption, FBK. He was one of the brightest, biggest, and strongest critics of Vladimir Putin and the Russian authorities, the system that Vladimir Putin has built. Navalny conducted numerous corruption investigations among Russia's elite, including Putin and his friends. He organized a protest movement in Russia, created a political party, and participated in Russian elections at all levels. In 2020, he was poisoned by Novichok while flying inside Russia. He survived miraculously and was transported to Germany. He got better in Germany, and then he returned to Russia, where he was immediately arrested when stepping down from the plane, put on trial, and sentenced to a lengthy prison term. On February 16, 2024, he died in a Russian prison in the far north. And if you ask me to describe Navalny in one sentence, I'd say Alexei was a Russian person who was awakened, who realized the power Russian people held, but not used. Alexei Navalny was perhaps the first Russian who understood the power of we are the people. Not only he understood, he was actively fighting for this power and for using this power. You see, it's a very simple yet the most powerful concept. We are the people. We as people are free. We are born free. We are given the right to live our lives in any way we want. It is us who run our lives. Not anybody else. No one has a right over us. There's no one above us except for God. No kings, no czars, no Caesars. No one. There simply can't be. We run our own lives in any way we want. And we nominate some people to help us run our lives, some parts of our lives. It is us, the people, who give a little of our power to the politicians. And if we don't like how they do their job, we fire them. We are the people. We are the ultimate power. To fully understand how beautiful this concept is, you must be born in a totalitarian state like the USSR when you have no rights and you are someone's property, slave. Unfortunately, I realized that when I compared the two systems. I was born and raised in the USSR, and I lived in the USA. I know the concept quite well. Once you taste freedom, you can't go back. Unfortunately, many Russians still live without this understanding that they are the people, they are the power. They don't realize their power, and if they're told that they hold the greatest power of all in their hands, inside of them, they get angry. Unfortunately, many Russians have a value that is very different from the Western countries, from the Western people. That value is stability. I personally don't know how this value was born, but it's here. Don't rock the boat, they say. Yes, the boat is not pretty, but it's our boat. We are still alive. We are barely making it inside the boat, but we're breathing. So please don't rock the boat. We would like to stay in this boat for the rest of our lives. Among all opposition figures and politicians, Alexei Navalny was hated and feared the most. For one simple reason. His thoughts were very simple to understand, and they were bulletproof. Once you understood them, once you woke up, once realized the power within you, you grew into a giant. Those gangsters who stole power from you and usurped it, they have nothing to oppose with other people. If people realize the power and start using it, they wake up, stand up, and say, hey, we are finally here. We are the power. Then the gangsters, they have nothing to say. They have to step aside. And we all understand that they don't want to do that. They're having a wonderful life. They're ruling other people. They're enjoying benefits, including financial benefits. They would like to stay in this position for as long as possible. They don't want their boat to be rocked. Navalny was giving people, Russian people, this very simple concept that the current authorities couldn't argue with. They couldn't do anything about it. He created a political party and wanted to grow that party so much it became the biggest force in Russia. And it was catching on. It was growing. It was growing like, expanding like wildfire. And Alexei was on the way to his goal. He was on the way to becoming the strongest force, political force in Russia. Putin couldn't do anything with Navalny's ideas. So he decided to crush them. They couldn't crush the ideology of we are the people. So they decided to crush people physically. I witnessed how they started crushing. FBK was just a political party that no one was really touching because, Russia was not what it is like today. Okay, that was more or less free. And all of a sudden, people started gathering together, assembling, exercising their right to assemble. And boy, the authorities didn't like that. They started going after people, but first softly. For example, there were a lot of underage kids attending Navalny meetings because the ideas of freedom resonated with teenagers the most. They're still clear minds. And what the authorities did, they went to schools. They started talking to children. They started warning children to speak to the parents, saying that parents are responsible for whatever the kids do at the meetings, and parents could lose their parental rights if the kids were attending the meetings. They started scaring the heck out of all of us. I remember our teacher, Olya's teacher, called us and said, make sure Olya doesn't attend Navalny's meetings. Then they started crushing the movement of getting political offices. It was absolutely incredible. They started preventing people from getting into the voting. Okay, they started fabricating schemes. They started artificially creating long lines, so people would miss deadlines and would not be registered to um, become part of the voting process. There was a huge scandal in Moscow in 2017, 2018. I remember clearly. I went to the protests. I remember what the authorities doing. Then they started crushing street protests, and I attended protests in 2019 and 2020. 2019 was Moscow, and 2020 was Rostov. I remember quite well. I'm the witness. I actually made videos from the protest. Um, Very scary when you are among thousands and thousands of people, and all of a sudden behind you, people start running and screaming, I'm on, and this is the riot police. And you hear sounds behind you, 100 yards perhaps. You don't see, but you hear people start screaming, they start getting beating, and there's a huge chaos, and then all of a sudden you also start running with everyone, and then you're afraid that you get arrested, thrown into prison, and so forth. And this is so scary. I was there. I was very scared inside. I did go, but I was scared, you know. Um, I remember how this violence was just increasing in 2019 in Moscow, in 2020 in Rostov on Don. Holy moly. Okay. At the end, they couldn't crush everyone. They tried and tried and tried, and then they imprisoned Navalny and killed him. Yet, at the peak of the protest movement in Russia, there were many people who were opposing Navalny, his idea, and even hating him. The disliking Navalny's supporters and followers. It's very odd. On one hand, you have Navalny with very clear, brilliant ideas of we are the people that cannot be argued with. On the other hand, you have some people who can't stand these ideas. Okay, so that was then. Let's fast forward to 2025. Alexei Navalny has been dead for 1 year, but he still's in the hearts of many, many of us. Because he's not a person any longer, but he's a symbol of what Russia can become. Russia, where power belongs to people, and they exercise that power actively. There are those in Russia who still love him, who still follow him, who still have him inside their hearts, and those who oppose him, even hate him. Um, Now, I want to show you a few videos of what was happening in Russia yesterday. But before that, I would like to thank you, all of you, who support Inside Russia by watching my videos, by participating in live streams, by sending me messages, liking my streams, commenting them, by praying for me and with me, by sending me love. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much. Sometimes I feel down, sometimes I feel crushed. Between trying to be the best son, husband, and father I can be, between trying to help Russians and Ukrainians here in Tashkent and caring for the family, um, between Brain Drain, the charity foundation I started, there's so much weight. But you keep me going. Thank you so much. I read a lot of comments and I really appreciate them. Thank you. Thank you, friends, for buying me coffees, for supporting through Patreon and PayPal. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I love you. So, there are two types of Alexei Navalny haters. I have two categories. That's my personal categories, okay? First category is the servants of Putin's regime, the Siloviki. Those who are part of the vertical of power, the system of power distribution that Vladimir Putin has created. His own personal absolute power rests on these people, from the very top to the very bottom. They are the policemen, the KGB, the military, the investigative committee, the chief prosecutor's office, and so forth. They are a part of Russian society that is helping oppress the rest of Russians. Those who disperse meetings, those who beat babushkas at the meetings, and teenagers and men too, who imprison people, who investigate them, torture them in prisons, with all these things. They hate the idea that the current system can change. They have established themselves inside this very rigid system, the vertical of power. Now, let me just give you a couple things about it. If you join the system, if you become a part of the vertical of power, you have to do it at an early age, after college, after university. Let's say you become a cop. You join the federal police force, and you hold probably the lowest rank, and you go to a special school, you become an officer, and you start serving. And you serve the rest of your life. Your entire life, you are a part of the system, and you get a lot of rewards. You get much better pay than everyone else in Russia. You get benefits. You get power that you can use, to make lots of money on the side, And there are certain responsibilities. You have to make sure that the current regime is solid, that no one is rocking the boat. Your entire life you spend inside the system. You grow a lieutenant, captain, major, colonel, semi-colonel, colonel, the general. So you have a chance to grow up to the very, very top, okay? And you become very rich, very powerful, but you're inside. You cannot quit. Once you quit, you lose everything. You lose your privileges. You lose your power. Because that's a catch of the vertical of power. To keep the power, to have it, you must be an active member of the system. Once you fall out for some reason, perhaps you get fired for misconducting, not following the orders. That's a crime inside the vertical power. If they tell you to start dispersing the crowd and you don't, they fire you for that. And you become nobody. Okay? So, again, you can climb the ladder to the very top, but it's a lifelong process. You are in a boat in the middle of the Pacific for life. You can't jump off the boat. You cannot even leave the country because they have forbidden all the members of vertical of power to leave the country. You stay inside and vacation inside. You can't go out. God forbid. You earn living and have a good life, again, only if you are inside the system. Once you fall, you're nothing. You're a bug. All your power resources are gone. Now imagine. And this is very important, folks. Here comes Navalny and proclaims that your power is fake as a cop, as a KGB officer, as a politician, whatever. Your power is fake. The real power lies in the hands of those who you oppress. And this concept is so simple, you can't argue. You can get mad, you can go and beat the guy, but you have nothing to argue. So if this tide changes, and all of a sudden people realize it's their power and they take it, and they start exercising, and they rise up and say, hey, wait a second, we are the Russians, we are the people. If that happens, you lose everything you have, and you can't do anything else. Most siloviki, most members of the vertical of power understand that. They are all ordered to crush Navalny in any way, and a lot of them are actually doing it willingly because they know if his ideas spread, they are done. They're gonna lose everything. They're gonna start doing something useful. They can't do that because you start the force early. I mean, you join the force early. You don't know how to do anything else. Let me give you a personal example. Oh, it's a good one. The year 1997. The vertical power existed back then, but it was very weak, but still it existed. It was remnants of the USSR. And the rules were the same, basically, back then. And I flew, after my first year in college, I flew to Russia, to my city of Rostov-on-Don for about a month. No, not a month, less than a month, 2 weeks. I had to fly back, it was early September, to start my college, second year in college. The problem was that my passport, Russian passport, was about to expire. I needed to get a new one, fly to Moscow, stop by the American embassy, get a visa stamped into my passport, and be off to Maine, okay? So that's fairly, easy. So I flew to Rostov, and I came to the office that issued passports, foreign passports. And they looked at me and said, well, we'll take your passport. That's going to take 2 to 3 weeks, which I didn't have. And I was very disturbed because I was missing school, okay? And Russia is a country of blood. Blood is nepotism. You have connections everywhere, if you live in some place. And of course, my family had connections. Not big ones, but this is, hundreds of people around you, and each person knows someone, and that's how it works. So my mom called a friend, and she explained the situation. She said, my son needs to get a passport very fast. He called his friend, and so forth. And then all of a sudden, there was a telephone call saying, hey, look, get a couple bags of, literally, plastic bags full of vodka, like 8 or 9 bottles. And vodka must be this kind, and show up at the regional office of police at this door at this time. Talk to this guy. His name is, for example, Mr. Ivanov, and tell him you're from Uncle Ivan. He knows. He'll help you out. And that's exactly what I did. I got the vodka, 2 plastic bags, and I was afraid to break the bottles, and they went like zing, zing every time I shook them. Anyway, I show up, and the guy looks at me and goes, oh, you're studying in America. I said, yeah. Oh, you need the passport fast. I said, yeah. And he goes, hey, no problem. And he actually opens up a big safe box behind him. He takes a blank passport. He types in, I don't remember, my name. And he stamps. He takes it he goes, give me 5 minutes. He goes to his boss. They stamp the passport, voila. And for that, I give him 2 plastic bags full of vodka. That's how it worked in Russia. And the reason I'm telling you the story is he was high up. I think he was a colonel, local police force. And he looks at me after he gives me passport, and he goes, how is this to live in America? And I remember looking at this guy, and he was looking at me with a very sad look in his eyes. And I said, America is great. He goes, I've never been outside of Russia. I really would like to see. And I told him, America is great, and I said, please tell me more. And I was telling him how things are organized in America, how it's about, and what kind of state Maine is, and all of these things. And I remember a guy was looking at me, and at the end he said, you know what, I really would love to quit everything and move either to northern the United States or Canada. And he said, but I can't. I'm in the system. It doesn't let me go. And I was 21 years old at the time, and I forgot about this conversation. But then I was preparing to one of the earliest streams, and something in my memory, something clicked just like that, and I remembered. I think that conversation that took place 27 years ago was very significant. It gave me an inside look at what Siloviki are like, okay? They are slaves of the system. They are chained by handcuffed to the system. They can't leave. Yes, they do enjoy money. They do enjoy power. If you can enjoy this kind of power, you can throw a person in prison. I don't know what kind of enjoyment that is, but they can do that, and a lot of people enjoy, but they're the slaves of the system. They cannot leave. Now here comes Navalny and says, oh, no, that power you have, that's not right. The power belongs to people, and you must serve not the czar who sits on the very top, but the people. And that's completely different thing. You cannot abuse power then. You have to be transparent. You have to act by law. You have to act by the book, and so forth. So obviously, these people didn't like it. They didn't like Navalny. And when ordered to crush him and his supporters, they did an extra good job, because their well-being depends on the current status quo and the current system. They were ordered to crush him and his supporters physically back then. Now, since he's gone, most of his supporters have left Russia, and his party is outlawed. It's labeled extremism. Yesterday, one of the people was arrested for 14 days and given 14 days in prison for merely having a picture of Navalny, and his charge was showing extremist symbol. Okay, so now they are ordered to crush the memories of Navalny. Let me show you a couple videos of what was happening recently in Russia. These people came to honor Navalny, and there were other folks who were very aggressively destroying the monument, taking the flowers, throwing them away, trying to basically wipe off the memory of Navalny. Most likely they are part of the police force. They are undercover. Judging how this policeman shows up all of a sudden and starts defending them and supporting them. And this person is saying, I'm simply exercising my power, my rights as a citizen of Russia. I witnessed that he's throwing the flowers that I brought, and the cops basically standing behind this guy. And then there's a witness explaining what happened.
Я спросил на основании чего, ты что, гляжу, мешок нагло разворачивает, все, сейчас что сгребать, а что сгребать-то здесь? Я так понял, что он сгребать только цветы, и конфеты там лежат, цветы и конфеты. Это жертва Зачевайну, Петрову, Ишкинину, Ивана Крылева, Силеву, Евсееву, в честь 15 жертв 20 века названы, сталинских жертв.
So this is the monument to all political victims. And then Navalny obviously is a political victim. And boy, they don't like in Russia when the Navalny is remembered and honored. See the cops all around?
Я говорю, зачем вы туда, зачем вы это
Why
делаете?
are you going in there? we're working here. Well, I'm a citizen of Russia. There's a conflict between a co-op and a person. The co-op does not let a person to go and lay flowers to a monument of political oppression. Yeah. Introduce yourself. I don't have to introduce myself to you. I'm the authority here. I'm a reporter. Yes, I don't care. We're not letting you in. Said, I'll spit into your camera now. Okay, this is the face of Russia's oppression, okay, of regular people. Watch it again. Я сейчас плюну в нее, says the guy. Я сейчас плюну в нее. That's I'll spit in the camera. Let's watch another video. That's Novosibirsk. Two ladies, not ladies, that's a couple, young couple, laid flowers. No, it's actually not a young couple. It looks like a mother and a son. The cops are ordering to present IDs. Based on what? Just because cops want them. I think these people were expecting a smile. And then the cops, look what they do. They write things down. They write things down. They're trying to scare everyone. And most likely they're gonna take legal actions against these people. Most likely they're gonna get prison terms. There were quite a few other videos I watched, tons of pictures from all over Russia. And everywhere cops acted similarly, in a similar way. They demanded Russian people who brought flowers or came to stand right next to monuments to the political oppression victims. They were demanding identifications, passports, and they were writing them down. Okay. So these police officers, these KGB officers, they're regular people. Oh, I can't really say just like me and you, but they're still people. They still have families, mothers, fathers, children, spouses. They, in free time, they like to have fun, they enjoy, they have feelings, they have emotions. Some of them love, some of them are religious, some of them actually pray to God. Yet they act this way. Yet they hate the supporters of Navalny, and they hate Navalny is the idea. Wow. So that was the first category. Siloviki, those who are a part of the system. And the second category of Navalny haters are regular folks who have been brainwashed into believing that Alexei Navalny was a foreign agent helping the enemies of Russia to destroy Russia, to steal Russia's riches. This concept of destroying Russia and stealing Russia's riches, when I heard it so many times, when I would say something to people, they would say, "But Навальный, он хотел украсть наши богатства. He wanted to steal our riches." I don't understand this concept, and you gotta be absolutely, well, I hate to say that, but you have to be absolutely dumb to believe it. Because look, what is Russia's riches? Biggest riches? Oil, natural gas, metal ores that you process into metals, fertilizers, diamonds, gold, and regular metals, ferrous and non-ferrous metals. That's what is considered Russia's riches. Well, those riches are extracted from Earth and processed and sold to foreign countries. To steal what riches? To destroy what? There's nothing to destroy. There's nothing to steal. Russia's riches are in the hands of the very few people, Putin and his friends, who are selling it, who are selling the riches abroad and keeping the money for themselves. They don't reinvest into Russia. If they did, Russia would shine. Instead, they take money, they sell, they receive for selling the riches, and invest into those countries they're selling to. The United States, France, the UK, you name it. The rich Russians who are connected, who are part of a Russian political elite, who are connected to Putin, those in power on top, they live in Miami, in sunny Isles. They live in Nice. They live in Kensington. They live in, Roma and Milano. They live in Switzerland. And that's where they keep their money. So there's nothing to steal. There's nothing to destroy. Russia is dirt poor. Russian people are dirt poor. And Russia has already been destroyed. But anyway, still regular Russian folks have been brainwashed to hate Alexei Navalny and his supporters. And they can't explain why, except for he is our enemy, hired by our enemies to destroy Russia, to steal Russia's riches. Amazing. There are two kinds of people. And, there are news they come out about Russia every day. They're so crazy now, but they're important to follow because following the news, you understand what is happening in Russia. So I urge you to, first of all, like this video and become a patron of Inside Russia. There, you'll get 9 news every day that I, myself, identify the news that I find important to understand today's Russia. We need to stay on top of things now, since they're so crazy. Need to stay on top of things more than ever, and myself included. And check out the Patreon, become a patron, and get 54 news a week that I myself find incredibly important. Russian people are still in lethargic sleep. And nothing good will happen in Russia while they're not awake. If or when they wake up, things in my country would change immediately, just like that. But not now. Most of people still support the war. Most of people still support Vladimir Putin. Most of people are still sleeping, not realizing the power within them. Alexei Navalny was Russian prophet, trying to wake people up. Who knows? Perhaps he gave the light, he gave the idea, he gave the hope to some Russian person who is growing up now to become a messiah, who will come, wake everyone up, and make Russia shine. Friends, let's not forget Alexei Navalny. This has been my message. Thank you so very much for coming and listening. It is absolutely fantastic to see everyone. I invite everyone to join the live stream chat that I'm turning on just about now. It's my most favorite part of any live stream, to turn the live stream chat on and communicate with you, talk to you. Like, Absolutely the best part of any stream. I would like to, be here for the first time, remind you, I'll tell you that this community inside Russia is the best community in the world. It's pleasant and respecting. That's like that because of the moderation team. Great people and the best moderators on internet. They're Lorna, Mami K, Amir Fazad, Bob S, Harry Potman, and Dirk. Thank you, friends, for helping me make Inside Russia better. And thank you, the usual suspects. It's absolutely great to see everyone. I was absent for a long time, almost a couple of weeks, and I'm feeling fine. I'm finally have recovered. I was medicated for a week, and it's done wonders. So please let me know what you think of my message and generally what you have on your mind. I will try to answer your questions if you make them visible to me. If you put them in all caps and highlight them in orange boxes by putting inside Russia after @ that helps a lot. Please be civil. Please be respectful to everyone. We do not discuss U.S. politics here. Positively not. So thank you, friends. The usual suspects. I'm seeing the familiar faces: Stefan, Oliver, Jodes, Vahe Kaliskian, Kermo, Lilith, Sam, Multi Ducky, Leitmotif, Ronnie, Andrew, Scott, Doug, Pamela. Who cares? Who cares? I like the name. Who cares? Um, KG1, long time no see. Angela, Uwe, Fractal Entanglement, Internet Person, another good name. Pam Tree Kate, Juanita Flores, Seika, Ho Ho, Twisted Teapot. Thank you, friends, for coming. What do you have to say? Cold in Chicago, very nice and warm in Tashkent. We've enjoyed very warm winter, very warm in Russia. Russia has been saved this year by very warm winter. Doug Hill from Los Angeles. What a sad date. It sure is. Sad date indeed. Uwe, guten Abend. Sending my love to Rostock. Fractal entanglement. New people need to reload their browser to see the chat. Thank you so much for reminding. That's true. Internet person is glad I'm back. Thank you. Thank you so much. Kate, my heart is crying for Ukraine as well. And for the good Russians as well. You know, not all Russians hate Navalny. Not all Russians are bad. There are some good ones. There are people who are active here in Uzbekistan who went to a monument of political victims in honor of political victims and laid flowers. I did that a year ago. I was assaulted by a KGB officer. Well, that's another story, but I think many of you know that. I told the story. It was openly taking pictures of us, our cars, the taxi cabs that took us places, and it was very scary. One of the scariest moments of my life. You know, the scariest moment is when you are followed and they don't hide it. That's been twice, well, 3 times in my life, already 3 times. You feel so powerless. you understand that they can do anything with you. And when they're openly following you and they don't care, it's a way of to intimidate you. They know it's very scary. So I have experienced it 3 times, and twice it was connected with Navalny. And anyway, so a lot of people, good people here in Tashkent, and a lot of good people are still in Russia. A lot of people came to monuments to honor Alexei's work and life. Gloria, thank you so much. Feeling so much better. Yes. Gail, hello, hello. Rip Triple X. Howdy, Grace. So good to see you. Thank you, Grace. Dear Grace, sending you love. You and your wonderful family. Keep on praying for you. Ronnie, if Navalny had been the president, the war would not have started. No, it would not have started. Um, that's a really a different, difficult, long conversation of why the war started. Um, when you're a free society, you don't need to start wars. You need to focus your attention inside you to make lives of your people, citizens, better. When you are not free, when you are a totalitarian state, when some people hold power over other people, they need to expand, constantly expand. They need total war to keep their power. Okay, that's fairly simple. So I agree with you, and I believe that had if Navalny had been the president, the war wouldn't have not started. Ekwarg, Navalny legacy is far from perfect. Ukraine has mixed feelings about him. He supported taking Crimea, but he was against the general generational 2022 invasion. Um, I've talked about Navalny a lot about a year ago when I explained my attitude. And yes, I agree that his legacy is far from not perfect, but far from spotless, so to speak. While Navalny was alive, I had questions to him, and there was one question. He was released from prison, okay, for reasons no one understands, and no one talks about it. Um, he was serving time. He was sentenced. It was a fabricated sentence. Okay, he was being isolated from the society, from his supporters, but then all of a sudden he was released. And I had questions about that, and of course, Crimea was another 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 point. Okay, but in my mind, when he made a decision to come back to Russia in 2020, and knowing that he was in the danger of getting arrested, most likely would get arrested, he came back from Germany anyway. He was arrested and he gave his life for the idea of free Russia. And I'm pretty sure that if he, uh, got the power, he would normalize relationship with Ukraine. There's no question in my mind. So that decision, that sacrifice, cleared Alexei Navalny of all wrongdoings in my eyes. Okay, to me, he's sane. Christian Kunzer from Austria, howdy, good to see you. Malti Daki, lost my hope for Ukraine and Russia. It's probably a topic for an entire stream. Malti Daki, I know what you're saying. I feel you. And at times over the last week or so, I was close. Okay. I feel that a dark cloud has descended upon us and things are not well. They're not going to the right direction. And it's very difficult. It's difficult for me because I have made my mission to fight darkness. And I see that we're losing. I'm not talking about certain events, certain people, no. I'm talking like the general feeling that I get. Well, I have decided, perhaps that can help you too. I have decided that I will keep on going and I will not lose my personal hope. No matter what happens outside, I will still have hope for Russia and Ukraine. Because hope is gone when there is no one except for you hoping. There are other people, they're hoping with me, along with me, and helping, supporting me in the hopes. For as long as I have that, I will have my hope. Christian, what would happen if a Russian asked to see the ID of police and noting the information? Uh, every single Russian in all the videos that I watched asked, demanded the policeman to present their ideas. And in almost every single video, they refused. They said, "We do not answer to you. You're nobody. It's none of your business of our IDs, but we must see your ID." And the thing is, Russians are hostages. If you don't show your ID, you get arrested on the spot and charged with who knows what, resisting arrest, failing to provide ID. There are articles, criminal articles for almost everything. But Russians can't force a Russian policeman to show to introduce and show ID. I think the rules have it that they must do it, but they just ignore. So, and if they showed an idea, what would the Russian do? Okay, he'd go to a police station, and the chief of the police station, he would say, "Yeah, I know. That's my person. I sent him there. And you know what? I'm gonna crush you here right now. If he hasn't done so there, if he didn't do it there, I'm gonna finish the job right here." And that's pretty much how it would go. HHGBRTs, Gloria Louis, howdy. Larry Barth from Canada, howdy, howdy. Um, Janice missed the message, will watch replay. That's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ron, I just tuned in. Is Navalny hate because of propaganda? Please, go back and watch. I divide all Alexei Navalny haters into categories. First is those who serve the system, who are part of the system. They don't want the system to change. And Alexei Navalny's ideas are so crystal clear, so simple to understand, and there's nothing can be argued against them. Then they understand if the ideas spread, then things will change. So therefore, they try not to. Uh, they try to stop spreading the ideas. And the second category is regular Russian people who are brainwashed, who have heard so many times that Alexei Navalny is a foreign agent acting on behalf of enemies of Russia, trying to break down sovereignty and steal Russia's riches, which is absurd. Steve from Ontario, Canada, howdy, good to see you. And Vonda Grub from Arizona. Carlos Enrique. Dada, I answered that a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if he changed his stand on Crimea after 2022. What I am absolutely sure is that if he had become president of Russia or person in charge of Russia, he would make amends with the Ukrainians and he would somehow agree on things with them. Ronnie, they've been given the power to interrogate people. They won't lose their jobs through it. No, they won't. They're actually encouraged to do that. They're ordered to do that. They're ordered to spread fear among people so people sit still and then open their mouths, okay? Mouths. Bite their tongues. So people would bite their tongues. Angela, I think you will find Europe wide awake. We'll see soon. Hussein, how is future looking for Russia? You think I'm a magician or an oracle? You think I know? I don't. Um, the future is tough. It's going to be messy, very difficult, and bloody. That I am pretty sure of. Everything else, I don't know. It depends on circumstances, how things go, which direction, which path Russians choose. Surfing all? Question, any quotes? I'm not sure what you mean, quotes. Navalny's quotes or Pinda the Peanut, howdy. Kevin Knopf, Russian people perceive themselves as weak. Not weak, but powerless. Russian people do not influence anything, they not decide anything. Everything is decided on top, the authorities. Artistic world, I remember what you said about Russian people backbiting their own people, selling them out, spying. It is said I would love if they would believe in themselves. I hope then one day that is it. Me too. I also hope that one day it happens. Wow, Grace, I'm sorry to hear that. We'll keep on praying for you. I had the same thing for 2 weeks prior. Um, I had troubles breathing and had to lay down, things like that. Sandra, thank goodness Europe was waking up. Explain me what you mean by waking up. What is Europe, how is this waking up? Leitmotif daily news did not show up yesterday and today for me. I'm very sorry to hear that, but not too many people on today's live stream. YouTube has been demoting me. There's not much I can do. I can only have hope and move forward. That's, as I promise you, I'll be doing that. Why did the Ukrainian Orthodox Church break away from Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine? Well, isn't it obvious, Jupiter? I think that needs no explanation because Both churches, they have different beliefs, different values. Piotr from Czech Republic, sending my love to Czech Republic. Thank you for coming. Tony G, good to see you. Carol, let there be peace on earth. Amen to that. Angela, thank you so much. Well, it's good that Europe was waking up, you know. Konstantinos the Greek. Howdy. I like your name. Honest question. Life in Russia under Putin hasn't improved in the past 2 decades. After perestroika, a more democratic leader would have the power to turn things around. I mean, that's obvious question. Life was getting much better until 2011, and after that, has started deteriorating. 2011, I called 2000 to 2011 the golden years. Oil was at peak of prices. Natural gas was sold aplenty, exported, and vertical of power was not there. So a lot of money was not just being grabbed by Putin's friends, but they were kind of like spreading all over Russians. And we were living fantastic lives, very rich lives. And if you're in Greece, you remember how rich Russians were coming by hordes to Greece for vacations every summer. But then it started changing in 2011, and now we are having a very different situation. Eric, good question. Couple more questions, and I'll be wrapping up. I didn't understand why Navalny didn't stay in Germany, went back to Russia after just recovering from poisoning. He knew he would happen. That's a sacrifice, plain and simple. He is a prophet. He made a sacrifice. He sacrificed his own life. What is there not to understand? Robert Ferguson, thank you so much. Small White Wolf, howdy. Eric, what's his name? Barely got out of Russia. What's his name? Whose name? Stephen praying that peace will come, not this week, but soon. And I wish that civil war doesn't come before peace with Ukraine and Russia. Amen to that. Fonda Grub, I haven't lived in the USSR, USA, and Russia. Your perspective is special. I appreciate your intelligence, your heart, and your bravery. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's good to hear. It is definitely a special perspective. I am an unusual Russian who explain you usual Russia because I know Russia. I am Russian. Unusual one. Christian Kunzer, Western ignore Putin's speech in 2000. No, not 2000. 2006 in Munich. J.M. Jones have been put in a timeout for offending National Bolshevik and for or Western traitors. That's interesting. Howdy. Thank you so much, Hubert Delgoa. How can the Russian opposition influence people in Russia when people like Ilya Yashin? Oh, okay. Vladimir Karamurza located in Germany right now. Well, you think it would be much better if they were located in a Russian prison? They definitely have more influence over Russian people now than they had when they were in prison. So I'm glad that they got out of prison, were traded. Okay, friends, thank you so much. I'm gonna be wrapping this up. I would like to invite everyone to pray along with me. Thank you so much. If you're religious, please pray. If you're not religious, please pray anyway. You can call what we do in any name you want, sending good vibes, good wishes to people, sending good energy. That usually works. I would like to have a general prayer today and then pray for special people who have contacted me through different ways and asked to pray for them. So, dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for putting food on our tables and giving roofs over our heads, surrounding us with people who we love and who love us, for giving us this day, for giving us the families and the loved ones. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful, and raise our children in a way when they grow up, they'll make this world a better place, will never participate in any wars. For now, please watch over our children. Give them safety and good health. Dear Lord, I am asking you to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. The country has suffered so much. It needs peace, it needs recovery, it needs sunshine and happiness. Please help every Ukrainian who has suffered from this terrible tragedy, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. I'm also asking you to help my country, Russia, reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible for this, making this decision to stop the bloodshed. Remind them that they're still human beings with love in their hearts, and have them wake up and make that decision to stop the bloodshed. Also, I am asking you to assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords. Have Saint Michael lead that army, and send it down to earth to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country, who we know by their names and by their faces. Please send your angels to help good Russians run the country, make it peaceful, loving, and respecting. Dear Lord, please help those who are traveling, send them safe travels. Those who are in danger of any kind, in high waters, dire straits, please send them help. Those who are seeking for asylum, those single mothers and fathers who are raising their children and struggling, trying to make ends meet. Please help everyone in Ukraine who is currently under threat of Russian attacks. Help those who are helping Ukrainians in Ukraine. Dear Lord, please help those who are sick, hungry, cold, addicted, homeless, jobless, depressed, backstabbed, betrayed, who are crying, who are losing their faith, who are losing hope. Please help everyone in need. Thank you so much for allowing us all to come together and pray together. Please help everyone who is praying along with me or simply watching us pray, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. I have a few people I'm asking for. They need your help, and they are Sandra Workman. She's going in for a surgery on Wednesday, and she needs your help. Um, Jeff, um, Teresa D, Ron Bazoid, Ann Larson and daughter Hannah, Jeffrey S. and his family, Katharina Holm, Alex, Mark, Hank's sister, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Gabin with Gary, Lisa, Harry, Terry, John, Linda, Paula W., Dennis, Jason, Susie, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Don, Darla, George, Pamela, Meta, David, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey and Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz, Koshkin Dom, Mike and Mike, Petra Olson, Joseph, Millie, Jodes, Philip, Eileen, Victor, Denise Abbott, Renate, Janice, Derek, Jeff, Gibson. Please help these people and everyone who needs your help. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you for a fantastic time. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for coming and watching, for liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you for your support and for your prayer. You are awesome and you rock. Tomorrow, another day, another stream. I'm back to my everyday schedule. I'll try to make it a good one, very interesting and educational. Please come back. And before I sign off, as usual, I'm asking everyone to say along with me as loud as you can. Carthago delenda est.